Gentleman from North Dakota is recognized.
We're conflating two issues here. A man is dead and an officer was shot, not because of rank and file law enforcement doing their job, but because somebody made a leadership decision in order to execute a warrant in the most dangerous way possible, given the circumstances of that case. And we could sell 6 a.m. and standard operating procedure. You can do that everywhere else. I've represented 3 officers and officers-involved shootings. I spent 10 years dealing with search warrants. I know the facts of this case. I know where the guy worked. I know that he was surveilled. And I know that they chose to implement a warrant in a way that absolutely maximized the risk of harm, both to the person being served the warrant on and to the officers serving the warrant. But I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna move on to something else quick. Federal gun charges are what we call strict liability crimes, right? If you have a gun and you're a prohibited person, that's the crime. There doesn't need to be intent. There doesn't need to be any of those things, right?
I disagree.
So if you're a felon in possession of a firearm, you can say, I didn't know I was a felon?
No, but there's an intent requirement in Congress's statute. You can read 922G1. It's in the statute, Congressman.
You said earlier that ATF's responsibility is to implement the laws that Congress passes, right?
Correct.
When did the U.S. House pass a rule classifying a pistol brace as a short-barreled rifle?
That rulemaking is based upon the National
When did Congress
Firearms
pass a law?
1934.
When did Congress pass a law? They didn't.
In 1934, Congress passed the National Firearms Act, which said that short-barreled rifles were unusually dangerous.
I'm not
Congress's
asking
words.
you about I'm not asking you about short-barreled rifles. I know what short-barreled rifles are qualified as in the National Firearms Act. When did Congress pass a law saying pistol brace is qualified? When did Congress pass that law?
Congress passed, they are covered by the National.
When did the Senate pass the law? They didn't. When did the president sign the law? He didn't. The first pistol brace was sold in 2012. A guy walked into a gun store, bought it legally, walked out of the gun store with the pistol brace rifle. No need for $200, no need for a stamp.
So you're saying if there's a new brand of gun that didn't exist in 1968, that the Gun Control Act doesn't apply to it?
I'm saying in 2012, a guy in Dickinson, North Dakota walked into a firearms store and bought a gun legally, correct? With a pistol brace. Didn't need to do a stamp, didn't need to do a $200, didn't need to do a $200 registration.
Again, we look at, I think.
No, this is a factual question. The first pistol brace was sold in 2012. Did the person who purchased it need a stamp, and did he need the federal government's permission to buy that gun? 2012, that's not a hard question.
Respectfully, the 2012, the thing that has been talked about in this committee previously, was never brought to market.
Okay, so 2015.
It would depend upon the actual design of the individual item. There were numerous different items being manufactured.
You spent
it changed
20
over
years
time.
as a prosecutor, 20 years as a prosecutor. You know the answers to these questions. I'm done asking them. I'm just going to go with numbers. From 2012 until 2023, the ATF estimates that there are 3 to 7 million pistol braces sold on the civilian market, not requiring the $200 stamp from the NFA for a short-barreled rifle. Now, what Congressional Research Service says there are 10 to 40 million of those things purchased in the same period of time. Manufacturer sales estimate are significantly higher than the ATF's estimate to include, and those estimates exclude 2020, 2021, and 2022. Now, the deputy chief of the ATF has stated that prior to June 1, 2023, 255,162 registrations on retroactive purchases were received by the ATF. Does that sound accurate?
I don't know who that person, they're going to have a title like that, but the number sounds like the number of people that during a certain period of time sought registration. The number does sound familiar, but I don't know the quote that you're talking.
So if I got a rancher in southwest North Dakota who's hunting snow geese to a federal wildlife refuge, and a U.S. agent comes out, he purchased that rifle legally in 2015, and he's out shooting geese with a shotgun. U.S. Fish and Wildlife comes to his car and sees a gun in there with a pistol brace. What's the penalty for him now? He bought the gun legally, 2015.
Well, again.
It's 5 to 10 years and a max of a $250,000 fine. You talk about costs, you talk about budget cuts. So let's just assume the low-end number of the ATF numbers on 3 to 7 million. 3 million guns that were purchased legally without any extra requirement. The ATF has gotten 255,000 of those registered. So you are roughly saying 2.7 million people are now felons in possession of firearms for something they purchased legally.
I respectfully disagree with a lot of the characterizations in your question. The last administration, Attorney General Barr issued guidance on this before ATF even got to this. People were on notice for years and years and years that you can't take something and break it into two and then put it together and treat it differently than the person who buys it in one piece.
They bought a gun legally and you guys retroactively made it illegal in a different qualification.
Respectfully,
That's exactly
I disagree.
what happened.
That is not what the facts reflect.
The gentleman is expired.